warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today we are on page 107. Age and the family life is the topic. The social construction of childhood and changes in the role and the social position of the children in the family. Archer, 2004 argues that every human society has developed a concept of childhood, but societies differ in their definition of childhood and by extension adulthood. If childhood was a simple biological category, we would expect every society to see it in a similar way. The fact that this is not the case suggested that the childhood is socially constructed rather than biological decided. So, according to this paragraph, one can say that there are just a single statement we need to understand, and the thing is that to every single society which is present right now or before industrial society, there was a concept of childhood, and the concept of childhood was previously considered to be a biological concept. I mean, every single parent have a wish or had a wish to become parents, so this is considered to be the biological phenomena, the biological case. Yes, we have girl or a baby boy. So this is supposed to be simply the biological or biological level or a biological phenomena. But with the passage of time, with the modernization, urbanization, migration, and having a lot of social awareness, now this is a debate. One can say that the childhood is typically a biological order, or it's a sociological phenomena. So we are supposed to be discussing this issue in today's article. Philip argued that childhood as a distinctive phase in social development only came into existence about 3 centuries ago. Childhood is linked to change from pre-industrial to industrial society, while there were non-adult in pre-industrial society. They were neither called children nor treated in a way we would currently recognize as appropriate to this stage in an individual's life. In pre-industrial society, children lived and worked alongside their parents, but the development of industrial society saw a gradual physical and cultural separation between children and adults. In the UK, the development of an education system in the late 19th century resulted in children spending less time working alongside other of all ages to spending time with their peers at school. Aries controversially suggested that there was no idea of childhood in pre industrial society. Adult attitudes towards childhood and children shift between the two extremes of seeing children as naturally good and innocent or seeing them as a naturally bad are needing to be trained and disciplined in modern industrial society. Children are sometimes seen as objects of concern requiring adult protection, independent owner of right, lacking awareness of right and wrong, the moral consciousness, aware of and responsible for their action. These different ideas reflect a basic uncertainty about the status of the children. So, according to all this, we are supposed to understand 2 or 3 things, which are first of all, I mean, we need to understand. According to Aries, the pre-industrial society doesn't have a distinctive you can separation. I mean, in adulthood or the childhood, because before industrial society or pre-industrial society, there was a simple concept of the biological phenomena. You have kids, and how much kids you have, either it's a boy or a baby girl, they have to be the part of their family members and they have to treat as a labor force. So in pre-industrial society, one can say that most of the family, either extended families or nuclear families, they are linked up. They are linked up with the agriculture. So when they are linked up with agriculture, so all the children, they are supposed to work with their families, with their parents in the fields. So pre-industrial concept of society has simple a biological meaning. Then with the passage of time and in modern society or after industrialization, one can say that almost 300 years before, one can say that we have a concept, yes, children and adulthood. We got 2 different concept of childhood and adulthood. And why we are in discussion to say the childhood is a social construction or a social phenomena. We need to understand if we want to change our children, are we are concerned about this term childhood, we are supposed to work different functions. We need to perform different functions just to prove how important the sociological development of the children is important. So first of all, it's all about the primary socialization. When we are saying about the primary socialization, it's the responsibility of the parents to learn, to teach their kids about the norms, about the culture, about the traditions, about the social norms, morality, ethics, those uh, all those ideas should be given to their children so they can become a good citizen, they could become a productive part of a society. So this is what we have in primary socialization, one thing. Second thing is that the idea was given by the adulthood sociologists, that there are certain things which are relating with the childhood. First of all, they are considered to be weak. We are not sure by birth they are always right or wrong. It's the society, it's the ambience which change the direction of the childhood. So we need to be very much conscious about this, how we train our kids in their early age. Secondly, thirdly, it is very important for the emotional attachment of the kids. The parents have to play their part in upbringing of their children. So why it is taken as a different stages like childhood or adulthood? Because we are considering it's the duty of the parents to teach their kids about certain issues, about certain social norms, which is important to be with them if they want to be the productive part of the society. So the cross sectional or cross cultural dimension, the cross culture dimension is also significant, because if childhood was simple biological determined category, we would expect different societies to have similar uh, perceptions about the society. So this is very important. According to sociologists, we can simply say, if childhood is taken as the biological phenomena only, so one can say that every single society must have a same kind of children. They should be treated in the same way, but it is not the picture. For instance, a person or a kid or a toddler which is brought up in a developed country is entirely different, because the way he or she is pampered, the way he or she is brought up, it is entirely different, because the facilities, the pampering, all these are involved for the betterment of the kids. So we need to understand this thing, which is very important. Very important. The facilities are entirely different. The way, obviously, educated parents can teach his or her child in a very different way. So when we talk about childhood and adulthood in a two different dimensions, we need to understand, yes, we are agreed that they are two different levels. We need to understand, we need to learn the different perspectives which are attached either to childhood or adulthood. So first of all, understanding, yes, we understand there are two different levels. So once we admit there are two different levels, then there are certain things which are connecting with either adulthood or with the childhood. This is the second thing. And thirdly, which is important to understand, that when we are considering there are two different levels, they should be treated in a different way. So the next question which must be pop up in our brain is, we need to understand there must be difference in childbearing. You know why? Because we have different classes. For instance, upper class has entirely different social status, social norms, social activities. Then working class has obviously the different kind of thing. So when we talk about the working class, entirely different stuff. We talk about the poor class or the labor class. So we have a different formation. We have a different rule and regulation. We have different choices to how to bring up their kids. So when we expect certain things, while we are saying yes, we got two different levels, childhood level and adult level, then we are forced, we are bound to understand the things which are concerned or with a link up with the class differences. So one thing we need to understand is the class differences, which play very important part in upbringing of the children. One thing. Second thing is the ambience, the way a person is treated in a specific ambience have an impact. You know why? Because the thing is that we can simply examine these days, that children are more associated with their peer groups as compared to their parents, because with the passage of time we are witnessing, we are experiencing certain things like now women are more and more career oriented. They are more concerned about their career, they are more concerned about their changing lifestyle. So once parents are keen and they are not conservative as far as the bringing up of their children is concerned. So one can say that if they are concerned, their preferences have changed. So we can say that the way they bring up their child is entirely different phenomena. Children were given more responsible and give more rights. Adult children relationship were closer enough and more supportive than it was typically in the past. Children were encouraged to explore their sexuality. There was a less guilt attached to sex play, and there are certain things we need to talk more open-minded sexual discoveries through play. So I mean, these are the kind of things which are concerned, which are linked up with the bringing upbringing of our children. I mean, we are giving our children more exposure to the social world. No, with the help of mobile phones, social networking sites, even cartoons, through education. I mean, we are giving our children more exposure as compared to those generation which are almost 200 years before. So there we can say that it's a gradual change. It's obviously the kind of change one can say that which can be seen throughout the different modern societies. So recent studies in South America, Asia, Eastern Europe, and Africa have revealed a diverse range of child parent relationship. Yeah, this is very important. Both historical and cross culture evidence points to the social construction of childhood, an idea underlined by a range of views concerning the nature of the childhood in contemporary industrial society. One significant argument is that childhood, as we have generally understood it over the past 50 years, has disappeared. Postmen argue that a major reason for this is the development of open admission technologies that exposes children to image of adulthood sex violence news that make it more difficult to define. So the social construction, obviously, as I mentioned in my previous lectures and even today, I mean, media has played a very vital role. Media has played a very crucial part. I mean, it is not the productive part, I must say that, because I mean, uh, child are open to see whatever they want to. There is not restrictions on certain things which should be restricted, but they are open to observe and watch. So the premature awareness of certain things has exploited the children's brain badly. It is very destructive, very fatal for their growth. It is very, you can say, disappointing sometimes, because we, by the name of you can say freedom, one can say that we have simply spoiled the life of our children. So we need to understand that what is social construction is all about. Social construction, behavior that is culturally rather than naturally produced. Sociologists believe that behavior is socially constructed because it varies both historically and across different societies. So basically, when we talk about the social construction, so social construction is the phenomena through which one can say that it's all about the behavior, and behavior is a kind of thing which is constructed through different social tools. One can say that, for instance, if a child go to a school, a college, or a university, has a peer group, even a person who has a working place, and there must be a specific ambience everywhere. You can say it's a worship place, a different ambience, different culture, different norms. We have a peers group. Obviously, things are entirely different as compared to the working place, as compared to the religious are the worshiping place. So different places, different levels are playing their part in shaping the behavior of an individual. For instance, I'm a teacher, so I have a different behavioral perspective. For instance, being as a teacher, I have certain norms I need to follow just to be a good teacher, just to prove to be a good teacher. So if I'm a father, I need to work a bit differently with my kids, because that time I'm simply producing certain thing which is related to my fatherhood. So according to sociologists, whenever we talk about the social construction, it's all about the tools, it's all about the levels, it's all about the places which are involved in constructing the behavior of an individual. So Robertson suggested that a further factor in the disappearance of childhood is that children are encouraged to be consumers, using goods and services that were formerly available only to adults. For example, mobile phones, advertisers target children markets in increasingly sophisticated way, and this has led to the development of a consumption culture that makes the world of childhood more like that adult world. The postmodernist view is that while children are increasingly consumers of products, they also shape those products instead of being passive receiver of adult culture. They develop relatively sophisticated childhood culture. Postmodern child inhabit a world quite different from the children of even a generation ago. They are exposed to a far wider and richer range of experiences, although one still different from the adult world. The was social construction view applies to other age groups as well. For example, being a teenager in industrial societies is frequently characterized as involving stresses and tensions that are blamed on biochemical changes during puberty. However, comparisons between cultures suggest that they are culture in origin arising from a long period of transition from being a child to being an adult. In societies, there were in a transition, a rite of the passage, a point at which a child become an adult. The idea of being a teenager does not arise. So, I mean, according to Robertson and the postmodernist point of view, one can say that now children are losing their childhood. You know why? No, they have a specific identity. So one can say that 200 years before, children are, they doesn't have to do anything. They are not consumers. But now with the passage of time, with the arrival of mobile phone, with the arrival of different gadgets, the freedom which is given to children, I mean, they have messed up with the brains of the children. Now they have the same identity as adulthood. So there is a big bit transition of childhood to adulthood. I mean, one can say that now. I mean, you can say like Batman, like Superman, Spider-Man, Avengers. There are so many characters, there are so many things which are involved in upbringing of childhood, and there are so many things which are, I mean, all the parties, all the products maker, they are trying to capture maximum number of consumers in childhood as well. So for that perspective, the thing which are not going on the in the right direction is that we simply make children a consumer. Well, so they have a kind of identity. They are more concerned about how they should be treated now. They should be treated now after getting a lot of awareness through media, after pampering from media, children, because they try to get a lot of consumer. They just try to have a market within children. I mean, they are just doing certain things which are not appropriate, just to boost their market, just to boost their products. They are targeting children, and at that point of view, they are messing with the children. You know why? Because they are making children more adult as compared to their age level. So one can say that 50 years before, 60 years before, children were originally children because they don't have that much awareness. But now things are entirely changed due to business perspective, multinational companies, cartoon, filmmakers. No, they concentrated a lot for the betterment of their business. And what they are targeting, they are giving children those perspective which are premature. They shouldn't be shared with the children. So this is the article I have, and this is what actually I'm trying to tell you how childhood has changed. So their last thing, within a minute, I need to give you an idea about three different things. First of all, we need to understand one thing. In pre-industrial society, there is childhood is considered to be the biological order only. One thing. After industrialization, in postmodernist approach, one can say that no, childhood is there. Childhood is treated as a special identity. It's not the biological only. In modernist society, one can say that we need to do certain things just to protect our childhood because they are our future builders. Second thing, the last thing is that by crossing all the boundaries, by crossing all the limits, in the multinational companies and the products maker, they have changed so much that now it's a kind of transition from childhood to adulthood, and we are not able to understand the exact point from where one can say that, I mean, now they are living in childhood and now they are crossing to the adulthood, because numbers doesn't make any difference these days. You can't say anything for sure that a person who is 13 or in a teenager doesn't have that specific knowledge. Now it's an open discussion. Children like to talk with each other and they like to talk those things which is not appropriate for them to understand before a certain age level. So next thing I have is the role and the social position of the grandparents in the family, including cross culture comparison and the impact of the changing life expectancy upon the family. This is supposed to be our next inshallah ta'ala article, and in my next video I will tell you something about this. But till then, take great care of yourself and fi amanullah.